Hey, Chris here with Simply Japanese Maples. Today we are talking about strap leaf Japanese maples, also called bamboo leaf, also called willow leaf, and more correctly called Linearilobum. Say it with me now, Linearilobum. But the correct terminology is Linearilobum. So when we're talking about that, we are talking about these kind of trees. So for example, we're talking about Villa Taranto. Now you can see this is what we're talking about, the strap leaf, these bamboo or willow leaf varieties of maples. It's not a separate maple family, it's just basically a leaf shape or a leaf form that's sort of got its own grouping within the Japanese maple sort of overall structure. So, in generalities, these trees all make amazing trees, particularly to add more of a tropical, almost airy feeling to your garden. Very wispy. And the nice thing is there's a bunch of different colors, there's a bunch of different shapes and sizes. The whole works, just like all of our amazing Japanese maples. These Linearilobums are no different. So let's have a look at some of them. Okay, so when I turn the camera around here, we've got a cluster of trees on this table here. Everything from the super delicate, fine leaves on fairy hair to right beside it something a bit bigger like Hub's red willow. So put them both in the same picture, fairy hair and Hub's red willow, pretty wild. Then you've got Villa Taranto. Another one in this sort of size, we'll get to this in a minute, it would be like Kinshi. Behind that is Red Cloud, a very nice red to purpled, somewhat thin-leaved type. Beautiful, turns into a nice big tree. Beside that we've got Koto no Ito, which is a really interesting tree that some of the new leaves are a lot wider than the older growth. The leaves themselves can be fairly large. And check out Koto no Ito on our product page on the website and you will see an absolutely amazing picture of a large mature sized one of those. Here is Beni Otaki. Now Beni Otaki and Hub's red willow are two of the larger Linearilobum forms that you're going to find. Now this one's fairly greened out because it's been in our greenhouse, but in the landscape this is going to be fairly red. So you can kind of play with that. So some of the leaves underneath that are shaded under a tree might be more green, or if you have it in more shade, this is going to be a lot more green. If you have it in full sun, it's going to be mostly red. And then again, this is a larger version of a Hub's red willow. Now this starts to take on more of this vase shape that you're going to see with some of these trees. Now in time, Hub's is so large, it's going to outgrow this shape and be more equally tall and wide, but this is a bit more like you do see with a lot of these trees. And this is what you'd see, like say red pygmy. Red pygmy is kind of a small to medium tree, you know, maybe 10 or 11 feet tall and maybe less wide or around the same width. So Beni Otaki is the same as Hub's in that it would be a very big tree. Whereas on the complete opposite is Villa Taranto. Now this is an absolute perfect specimen for container planting or small space in the garden. This poor fellow has a little bit of burn on the edge of the leaf lobes from a very, very hot summer, and it's really greened out. It has a lot more orangey tones to it in sun, but a beautiful small container plant, perfect for container plant. Kinshi is also a good one for that. Beside this one is red pygmy, which I just talked about a minute ago. Red pygmy gets to be maybe 10 feet tall or so in the landscape. You can see the new leaves on this have a lot more, in sun, have a lot more red-orange tones, but then they can also have a lot of purpley green colors to them, particularly early on in the season. So that's really cool. And behind this one is Red Cloud. Very nice. So this has more a brighter red with some almost purpley burgundy tone to it. And that's going to be a fairly large tree as well. And then initially I mentioned fairy hair. So fairy, this one we're kind of nursing back to health here. This will actually turn into a much bigger tree. Right now it's kind of a smaller, skinny, sparsely leaf tree, but this is what it does. Is a very, very fine leaf lobes. So they're just like Seikoto no Ito over here, except very fine. So there you go, guys. A bit of a sampling of the Linearilobum types. Again, very tropical, airy feeling to the garden. Really cool trees. I really love them, and can't recommend them enough. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about Linearilobums or anything else Japanese maple related, don't hesitate to reach out. simplyjapanesemaples.ca. It's where you can find us. It's where you can find our trees. And until next time.